I am Gary Wolfstone. I am the attorney for Errol Howard, Errol's Bulldozing. And the purpose of our meeting today is to demonstrate the uniqueness of his truck, the Peterbilt, that was involved in this case. And basically, what we want to do is to demonstrate how this truck is unique and could not have been replaced by a simple truck rental. Because the defendants in this case have said, hey, we'll put you in a truck rental for 1 month, and Errol Howard will explain why that would not get the job done. His truck has been modified. It is one of a kind. And he goes into some real tight neighborhoods when he's doing his dirt and demo work, his construction work, and he has to have this truck with these capabilities, and we're going to demonstrate that today. On my right is Steve Ward. He would be an expert witness in this case, and he is also a contractor. Am I right about that, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. And Steve, are you familiar with Errol's truck? You've worked with him in the field before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And do you feel that his truck is unique in that regard?
Yes, it is unique.
Okay. And do you think that a one truck rental would substitute and do the job for Errol in this situation?
No, it wouldn't. There's no way.
Okay. And Errol, I'll let you explain. And we also have here, we have Creighton
Finn? Yeah.
Creighton Finn.
Yeah.
And Creighton, what is your background?
I do diving, sonar, engineering, fabrication, that kind of stuff. I've been around Errol a few times when he's been using the truck, and it is unique. It's got a bed, a flatbed that comes off with what do you call them? Idler tires on it.
Yeah.
Extra tires.
Yeah.
It allows you to carry a bulldozer and other equipment on board. Take the flatbed off, slide it under a low boy or a debris trailer. So one truck does it all, basically.
Now, Errol, when the accident happened, your truck was out of service for a full month.
Yeah.
And you were the defendants gave you the opportunity to rent a truck to do the job. Would that have been possible? Would that have gotten your job done out of valid and those kind of things?
No.
Explain why.
Well, with the ramp bed, I've got a big machine I haul in there that does demolition and moves quite a bit of dirt. It's my middle-sized machine. It's a Komatsu PC-120. And with the 4-axle truck, that's an older truck, so it's a lighter weight truck. And everything works out just right for this PC-120. It's maxed out. I've got maybe 300 pounds, 400 pounds left over to haul a tool or some tools or some fuel. But it's also maxed out for height. It's like 13, 11 and a half inches tall, just under 14 feet. And I can load that on this ramp truck, and it's legal. And then I can also disconnect the bed, hook up the debris trailer. I've got 2 trailers. I got a small one hauls rock and dirt and concrete, broken concrete. The other one hauls house demo, the big one, and you just couldn't replace it. I'd have to have a dump truck to replace a small trailer. I'd have to have a specialty built ramp truck with probably 5 or 6 axles to haul that 120, because the new trucks are heavier, a lot heavier than this old 81 Peterbilt. And I'd have to have another truck. I'd have to have a tractor to pull the debris trailers.
And then you'd have to hire 3 drivers. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't do it all that way.
Okay. Now, the modification that you did on that truck, would you describe what that was?
I put there's 2 cross members. There's one in the rear and there's one in the front. It has an air pin in the front. And when I take the bed off, I just flip a switch. The air pin pulls out. I take the safeties off, pull some lines out, some air lines, and wiring, the plug-in for the lights, the wiring. And I just lift the front of the bed up and pull out from under it. We'll see that here in a few minutes.
Okay, and Steve, as a truck driver and a contractor yourself, you are familiar with those modifications on Errol's truck?
Yes, I am.
You've seen him doing that in the field, the operation of that?
Oh yeah, it's real slick. This bed he has for his 120 has the drop axle hooked to the back, and it just comes off real quick and easy, and then he can hook up the trailer, and he doesn't need to have a dump truck. You don't need to, there's a does a lot of different things. You know, he can haul debris with it. He can haul the machines with it. He doesn't need a lowboy, to trailer. It's set up real sweet.
And if you were ever called into the courtroom to testify as an expert witness, would you support Errol's conclusion?
Oh, absolutely.
That he just couldn't rent one truck to substitute what he's doing for 1 month.
No, there's no way. And he switches over so quick. It's so versatile that he can switch free or hauling, material in, using it as a dump truck or moving his equipment in just a matter of minutes.
Okay. And Creighton, as an expert witness, if you were ever called in the courtroom, would you support that decision?
Certainly, absolutely.
Okay. And you're familiar with the operation of the truck? You've seen it
Been
before?
on the site numerous times. Yes.
On the site numerous times. Well, let's demonstrate. At this point, we're standing by the Peterbilt, the truck in question, and Errol is going to demonstrate what he would be doing in the field, and I want you to point out the modifications that make this truck unique.
Okay.
When you do, and also verbally explain it. Go ahead, Errol.
Sure, yeah, we'll unload these two machines, get the ramps down, unload these two machines, then I'm going to back up and we'll pull this bed off, and then we'll show these modifications.
let's talk about the modification and what makes this truck unique.
Okay.
What you did to change this truck and the bed.
Well, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to back up and I'm going to flip the switch and the bed will come up in the air, and then we'll put a machine on it, lift it up the rest of the way and pull the truck out from under, and we'll get to this part and show you what makes the truck actually unique. So it's a one-off, you'll see.
Okay, demonstrate. Errol, what you've done, you've just released the bed from the truck. Was that part of the uniqueness of this truck?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
If you had rented a truck, could you take the bed apart like that and take it off?
No, not without changing a lot of the frame of the truck. Putting different cross members in to hold the bed.
So is this part of the modification that you've done on this truck?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And in the tight area that I work in here, if I had had to rent trucks, I'd have had to rent a place to park them too. I don't have the space here, so as you can see, it's a little bit tight here.
do I correctly understand that you built this from scratch?
Yes, yes, it did.
Okay,
Yeah.
where did this steel come from?
Actually, just these pieces, these side rails came off the old West Seattle Bridge out of the salvage yard.
Okay.
So, yeah, yeah.
Well, you designed it and you welded it and
Yeah.
you put it all together.
Yep, did all the
This is
fabrication.
part of this bed is part of the uniqueness of your truck then.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
now don't endanger yourself, but can you get underneath and show us
Sure, I can point.
what you consider the really important modifications? Go ahead,
Well,
Errol.
this goes over a cross member that I built and put into my truck, and it has a air can and an air pin, and I flip a switch, and the air pin goes on and locks the bed. And then here, this is boxed out for the fifth wheel, so that was quite a trick getting that done. And then this is the rear cross member. When I lift the bed up like this and I back the truck in, that's the first one it goes. And I used a round piece of pipe for that so it would pivot. So when I put the bed back down, this comes down in front of the cross member and it's totally locked in. It's with a air can, with a maxi can. And then I have I chain the front of the bed down for safety. So anyway, but yeah, I thought this all up in my head and just put it all together without blueprint or anything.
So the way you designed this and the way you built it is part of the uniqueness
correct.
that
Yeah.
we're talking about. And you couldn't go out and rent a bed or a truck that had a bed like this, could you?
No, not like this.
Okay.
And this is one of the reasons I would have to have multiple trucks,
Okay.
because one truck, to do this to one truck would be thousands and thousands of dollars, and nobody's going to let me take a truck and drill holes in the frame and rent it for 1 month. So.
Okay.
Okay, so now here's the cross member. This is the rear cross member where we back into the bed, and it has the round pipe that pivots, and it guides itself in here on these angle pieces. And then working ahead here, of course this is the fifth wheel. Now I'm ready to hook up to a lowboy or debris trailer or whatever I need. And then we'll come up here and I'll show you this here. This is the forward cross member right here where the bed comes down over, and if you come around here you can see this is the air can, and then it's a spring can, so it's a safety deal, no air to it, it never releases. And then you come around here and you can see the front where this connects in, and that's the air pin. This is in the release position. Go ahead, Creighton, flip it. And that's locked in. That's when the bed's locked in. And then I have a chain. We put the chain down around here for safety.
Water open?
Yeah. And that's the open position. So that's how all that works.
And so, Errol, again, what I'm interested in demonstrating here is the uniqueness of this truck. Now, these cross members, you made those and installed those yourself?
The cross member here, yeah. This one going across this way. Well, I made those too. Those are for the bed. Those are for the bed to rest on. But it's this cross member. This one here is the one that is so unique and different.
Okay, and when Creighton, okay, have Creighton go ahead and...
Go ahead and flip it, Creighton.
Okay, that's part of the uniqueness of this truck too. Okay, that cylinder, what does that do? That locks in your bed?
Yeah, that's a solid steel pin, and that's what locks the bed in. Once the bed's down, it locks the bed in, and there's a big heavy coil spring in here that has to have air supplied to it in order for it to release. And all my controls are manual. I don't have any electric over air, so it's very safe unit, and never had a problem with it.
Is he going to engage it again?
There's
Or-
this good.
And so if you rented a truck, you wouldn't have these kinds of features on a truck rental. They just don't exist, do they?
No, this would have to be fabricated into a rental truck. And once again, I said this truck's really light, and it's a 4-axle, and at 4 axles, it's just right at weight with my PC-120 with my big excavator on here. And for a newer truck, they're a lot heavier. It would have to be a 5 or possibly a 6-axle truck in order to handle that kind of weight. And then it'd have to be also be low enough. Right now, I'm maxed out at about 11 and a half inches. And so it would have to be, the frame would have to be low enough too also.
Okay, well, we just want to take a an aside here, and I want to ask Steve Ward again about his training education experience. And as I was explaining to Steve, we're not trying to get him to brag, but if he were testifying in the courtroom, there's always what we call the qualification of the expert. And you were a ship's engineer on a couple of vessels, weren't you, Steve?
Yeah, several.
Okay, so you have that experience, and now you're a contractor and do similar work that Errol Howard does.
Yes.
And you've worked in the same neighborhoods in Ballard that Errol has worked in and faced the same problems that Errol does. How would you describe the situation when Errol comes into a neighborhood like that with his equipment?
Well, you know, it's where we work, it's just really tight, and we don't have room for trucks and trailers and that, and you know, having a truck like this, where as opposed to a truck and trailer, you can just get in, you can maneuver. We have no room to maneuver. Parking is real tough, you know, and you need your truck there, you know, in order to get stuff off of it and whatnot. And it's just impossible when you got truck and trailer to try and find a place to park. You know, they just bring when someone comes, they bring the equipment and drop it off, and then they leave. And if it was a rental situation, there's nowhere for them to park or stop. It's just a stop and run. And this is a situation where you can actually get into the job, not have to unload in the street. It's a lot better.
Yeah, you'd have to come back to the yard, drop it off, get your pickup, and then go back to the job. So it just doesn't work with lowboy. Not where we work.
So it sounds like that with Errol's arrangement here with this bed that is unique that we've just demonstrated, that he can operate in a tighter space a lot more efficiently. Would that be true?
Yes, absolutely. And in downtown Seattle, Ballard area, they put all these roundabouts in the middle of the intersections, and you just can't get a truck and trailer around them without driving right over the top of them. It's impossible.
So if Errol had rented a truck, which is what the defendants wanted him to do, he would have a truck and then a trailer. He would have to take a trailer with it, right?
Yes.
Okay. But instead of that, if he uses his truck and his bed, he's got everything in a compact space. Is that true?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
And in a lot of situations, I don't even know how they get the equipment in without driving it down the street. You're not supposed to do, but
some of them do.
Yeah, I mean, they just can't. They can't do it the right way, legal way anyway.
Yeah. Okay. We have some commentary now for Errol Howard about the excavator. This is a piece of equipment that he can use to demolish a house in 45 minutes. And the reason we're talking about this excavator is that Errol can get this excavator on his unique bed and on his Peterbilt and take it into a tight area in a neighborhood in Ballard.
Yeah.
And he does do that. And so Errol, explain how and why you use this, the excavator.
Well, it's a 30,000-pound machine. It's a PC 120 LC Komatsu, and like Gary said, I can get it on that bed. That Peterbilt is very light. It's an 81 Peterbilt, and this is a 30,000-pound machine. The truck is just maxed out with that ramp bed and being 4-axle. And to replace it, the new trucks are a lot heavier. I'd probably have to go to a 5-6 axle truck to haul this, and they don't make those. They just don't have those. And once again, it converts. The bed comes off. and in 5 minutes it converts, and I can pull debris trailers with it, or I can pull, I can pull a lowboy too. But like I say, once again, lowboys are too big to get into that Ballard area.
So if you had rented a truck, as was suggested by the defendants in this case, you would have, instead of having a truck with a bed, you'd have to also get a trailer to move this piece of equipment. Is that right?
Correct. And if I did, it'd have to be a real short tractor and a real short trailer. And still, I'd have a problem. I'd still have to take that trailer back to the yard once I unload it, because there just isn't any place to park in Ballard. And with my truck, it's about 30-some feet long, and I can get it into these parking areas that they cone off for us. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And the defendants, just as a side note, the defendants have also mentioned that for the month that Errol had downtime, he was having variable costs like fuel that he didn't have to spend money on. But you've also got fixed costs. For example, you're still making payments on this unit, aren't you, the Komatsu? So the overhead is high, and he does have a high fixed cost overhead, insurance and the payments on the unit itself.
Yeah, and other payments too.
And a lot of other payments.
Yeah. I've got payments, so I got a brand new machine in the back, and so.
And the brand new machine in the back, that's a fixed cost. You're making payments on that. And the insurances, the various insurances that you have to buy to run this business.
Makes the payments look cheap.
Yeah, and you can't stop those.
No, I can't
You
stop
have
the
to pay
insurance.
those premiums
No.
12 months out of the year.
Yeah, you can't stop that for a month. They don't do that. So. And this is one of my trailers down here also. That's my short one that I pull, and I can get that into some areas. And then of course this is my debris trailer behind you, but that's one we haul houses with. Unless we can't get in, then of course if we can't get in there, then we get drop box trucks to come in and do it, which happens quite a bit. But you can see the size of this machine. It's a big machine, and it goes on the back of that truck. I got pictures of it, and so I've got some pictures we can get. So yeah, it's a real unique deal. Nobody else has this. Nobody.
Here again, we want to make a distinction between fixed costs and variable costs in operating your business. And this bucket is brand new. Do I correctly understand?
Yeah, just for an example of cost, what things cost. This is a bucket costs $4,000, and they're normally $7,000 to $8,000, but I got a deal, so I paid
Okay.
$4,200 with tax. So that's a clean out bucket for the machine that you just saw.
Okay, when you buy equipment like that and make payments on it and insure it, those are costs that go on and on and on. And if you have a month of downtime, you can't stop making payments on equipment.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I've got I've got one of these down in front. It's all wore out, so it's time for a new one. So.
think it's important for the defendants to understand how much maneuvering there is on Errol's job. And what you've been watching on this video is the kind of maneuvering that he would have to do in a residential neighborhood. It's almost impossible. And Errol, also, if you had rented a truck, and we've established, I think, pretty clearly that you would need your truck and your bed in order to get this equipment into the work site.
Yeah, correct.
But
Yeah.
you don't have room for it here, do you?
Well, I don't have room for 3 trucks here. I don't have room for what I've got hardly.
Hardly here, yeah.
I'm full up.
And so you'd have to go out and rent a yard, and that would undoubtedly cost several $100s, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay. I mean, you need to do it with your truck or not at all. Isn't that true?
yeah. I just don't have the room here for 3 extra trucks because that's what it'd take to replace this.
Yeah. So, and do you think that what we have done here today is an accurate demonstration of the uniqueness of your truck?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And all the logistical problems that you would face if you were operating in a tight situation in a neighborhood?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Good. And so here we have our expert witnesses against, and we want to give a grand finale. And Steve and Creighton, how do you feel about the demonstrations today? Do you think we've made the point?
I think this is indicative of what you'd see in the maneuvering necessary to get this thing on and off in a residential area. Typically you have cars parked on both sides of the road, and it takes a compact rig like this to do that.
Right. And Steve, you do pretty much the same kind of work that Errol does, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And would you reinforce what Creighton has just said?
Yeah. The smaller the better, as far as getting into the sites that we have to deal with. And this works out the best.
And do you think that in a court of law you would be prepared to testify that the uniqueness of Errol Howard's truck and bed would make the difference between doing this job with this equipment versus a rental?
Absolutely.
And you would so testify if we give you a subpoena and bring you to court?
Yes, I will.
Creighton, would
Yes,
you
sir.
so testify?
Absolutely.
Perfect.